Hey there, creepy peeps. Welcome to my channel if you're new here, and welcome back if you're returning. We already recapped everything I read in January, so it is now time to recap everything I watched. Before we get too far into that though, I want to say thank you to my creepy patron peeps for supporting my channel. Thank you guys so much. If you want to find out the perks to being a creepy patron peep yourself, you can follow that link in the description. Alrighty, welcome to my letterbox. I'm not sure where I'm gonna put my screen, so I don't know which way to point. You know the drill. We're gonna go through my letterbox. We're gonna see what it is I watched. So this feels like months ago now, going to the very beginning of the month and the very beginning of the new year. I watched The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. As you can see, my my New Year's Eve film of choice was to watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So I watched the first two. They were the extended editions, which is why I didn't watch Return of the King until the next day. Because I went to sleep and then I just watched it the next night. But yeah, I watched the extended edition of both, which is a long ass time, especially for two movies, let alone all three. I should have started way earlier to watch three of them. And then I felt the need to watch The Hobbit again. I just remembered how much I didn't like these movies compared to the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Sorry. I don't know if that's a controversial opinion or not. Anyways, moving into stuff you guys probably really want to hear about. I finally saw New Mutants. I finally fucking saw it, and it took one of my patrons, Ben, to request it. Like, goddamn. I finally saw it. It took forever for it to come out. I mean, you guys all know this by now. And when it finally did release, it released in theaters first. And I didn't want to go to the movie theater because I live in Florida and the COVID cases were really bad at the time. They're still pretty bad. I held off on watching it. And it was not a complete disappointment. I was worried about it because it took so long for us to finally see this movie. So I was worried I was going to ultimately be disappointed just because like the anticipation had been building and building and building for so long. I thought it was pretty okay. For a superhero movie, is it a superhero movie? They're heroes, right? It's part of the X-Men universe, therefore making it Marvel, question mark, I don't really know. Just their interactions with each other. It felt like it was a whole lot of like tension between various characters for different reasons, and then all at the end just because they fight like this one monster that I guess I won't spoil in case you haven't seen it. Then they come together, you know? And I'm like, that was a little, it ultimately felt like a setup for, it ultimately felt like a setup for more movies. If they're gonna bother trying to make more movies with these characters, I would like that. I would like to see their stories develop. I liked the actors in it, especially my girl Anya Taylor-Joy. I will watch anything if she's in it. All right, then I watched Blood Beat, which was requested of me by Ben, I think. I should have had the list out. I cannot remember. This was I feel like this summary right here conveys just how fucking strange the movie is. A family in rural Wisconsin is stalked by the spirit of a Japanese samurai warrior. Is a sentence I never thought I would say ever. It was weird. Yeah, I think it actually was Ben, because look, he gave it 4 stars. I don't know if I was supposed to, if there was something like deeper I was supposed to get. If there was, I didn't get it. It was funny in how bizarre it was. And I can definitely see it's like a so bad it's fun kind of thing. Like I almost wish I'd watched this as a group movie, like for a movie night or something, because I feel like it is probably at its best watching it with a group of people and ripping on it the whole time. So yeah, it's but watching it by myself, I didn't have a good time. I was mostly just confused as to what the fuck was happening. Then I watched As Above, So Below, which was for a movie night with my patrons. Yes, I remember. I fucking love this movie. I feel like it is a wee bit underrated. I feel like it doesn't quite get the love that I think it deserves. Obviously, that's just my opinion, and I'm biased because I very much enjoy the movie. I really like it. I think it works well as a found footage movie. There's no instance where I'm wondering why they don't just fucking drop the cameras and go. Because they're strapped to their heads. That's the solution to everything, you guys. If you're making a found footage movie, attach the camera to the characters somehow. I like the kind of academic aspect to it. I guess, I don't know if this qualifies as like dark academia because it's a horror movie, but I like that. I like that it's kind of like a horror movie version of like the Da Vinci Code. I love that. And Perdita Weeks is like fucking gorgeous, so there's also that. Then I watched The Ritual, which was, the reason was twofold. First was because I am doing a movie challenge, and I know what you're thinking. If you've been on this channel for a little bit like Vicky, you've tried movie challenges before and you always fail. I know, but this time, a bunch of other patrons are doing it with me. It's created, the movie challenge was created by one of my patrons also, aZuuL. I'll link the movie challenge in the description if you want to check it out. It's one movie a week, super easy. And the weeks are themed, so aZuuL put a lot of work into creating themes for each week, so definitely check it out. Okay, yes, so I did it for week 1, and the theme was Up High in the Mountains. The whole month is like winter themed. So I was supposed to pick a movie that takes place on a mountain where it gets below 0. Technically I don't think it gets below 0, but it does take place on a mountain. And then we also read The Ritual for a creepy book club, so I wanted to revisit the movie as I was reading the book. I said this in my book wrap up for the month, but this is a rare instance where I just have the opinion that the movie is better than the book. I said it, I know. Controversial. Then I watched A Walk to Remember. Why? Because I'm an idiot. I don't know. I already in a delicate emotional state. I don't know why I felt the need. I think I just wanted to cry more. Well, I could be like in the best mood ever and watch this movie and still fucking cry at the end. It's ridiculous. Then I watched The Shining and The Shining for Does This Offend You? Watched the Kubrick film and the miniseries. I don't know if this is controversial, but I rated them the same. I know. I mean, as a film on its own, the Kubrick version is, I think visually it's stunning. I love the score. Hate the way Kubrick treated Shelley Duvall. We talked about that during the live stream, which I'll link up here. Hate all that, but like as a film on its own, I think it works. As an adaptation, obviously, if you're gonna nitpick it based on how it relates to the book, it's a failure. I feel like the tone is completely different, but it's somebody else's interpretation, so I mean, it is what it is. And then we have Stephen King's version, which he wrote the screenplay for the miniseries, so it's way more faithful to the book. I liked the characters a little bit more. I liked they seemed more like a family unit where this thing is happening to them instead of one of the family members already seeming unstable. So I don't know. I liked and disliked them both for, I guess, similar enough reasons that I gave them the same rating. Then I watched Dead Snow 2, Red vs. Dead, which was for week 2, Frozen Water Week. See a movie with any kind of frozen liquid in it, which technically you could watch anything with snow in it, and that is frozen liquid, right? Kind of. I've never seen the second one before, so I figured I should get around to watching that. I liked it. I thought it was still silly and goofy like the first one, but I feel like it was just kind of like missing. It just felt more forced than the first one. Not horrible by any means. I gave it 2.5. All right. Then for the weirdest movie night ever with my patrons. One of my patrons sponsored a movie night. So we first watched Disturbing Behavior, which is the first time I've seen this one. Big Faculty vibes, big 90s vibes. Like, man, the 90s just ooze out of this movie. I thought it was fun in kind of like a cringy way, you know, like when you go back and watch like a nostalgia type movie and it's like, it's not great, but it gives you that like kind of like joyous feeling because of that. I'd never seen this before, but I got the vibe from it. And I feel like Katie Holmes is kind of just like a bad girl from the wrong side of the tracks. It was iconic. Then we watched Never Too Young to Die, which I'm just gonna go ahead and call her out now. This was B's special request. She's the one who sponsored the movie night. She's the one who wanted to watch this one specifically. It was a movie. It was a movie. It was filmed and edited, and we watched it. It was just... I honestly still don't know if it's serious or not. I still don't know if this was done seriously. I think I'm just gonna live in like my little fantasy world that this was purposefully cringy and weird and bad. I'm just gonna live in that world because, yeah, it's not great LGBTQ plus representation, I will say. B did warn us of that before the movie started though too, so I at least appreciate the acknowledgement that it is problematic in that sense. It also was the 80s, so it's unfortunately something that just, you know, the older movies, the farther back you go in the decades, I feel like the more problematic they are if you give a think about it. I still can't even really like formulate thoughts on that movie, to be honest with you. I don't even know if 2 stars is what I want to rate it. I don't know. B did not believe me when I told her it's like a placeholder rating. I genuinely don't know what to rate it. I really don't. I really should just mark it as watched. And then we watched Jumanji. Weirdest movie night ever that has no theme. I've only seen the remake once, and I haven't seen the sequel to that one, but oh man, do I love this movie. I remember owning it on VHS. Alrighty, next movie challenge. Movie I rewatched Frozen. I wanted to revisit it. It was for Snowplow Week. Find a horror movie that has a snowplow in it. Again, pretty easy to do. If you find a movie with snow in it, there is a very high chance that there might be a snowplow. So I rewatched Frozen. The Adam Green one, obviously, as you can see on the screen. Still a fun, tense situation. Tense situation to find yourself in. Definitely a fun one to watch with other people because it's it's a whole bunch of discussion of what would you do in this situation and yelling at the characters for making dumb decisions that you wouldn't make and yada yada yada. So yeah, Frozen. And then I rewatched Tales from the Hood just in preparation for a video coming in February. I have a lot of movies to watch for that video in February, so I was just kind of getting a jump on some of them by just trying to start my list of movies here. So I rewatched Tales from the Hood, which I've seen before. I love a good anthology. I feel like this one's great. It's just a well done anthology. I like the wraparound. And the wraparound is compelling, which sometimes is like hit or miss in anthologies. Like sometimes it's more just kind of like an arbitrary vehicle to like introduce each short, but I feel like I feel like the funeral director is, I like how he intros each story we're about to see almost like a horror host, and the wraparound has its own story as well that you could like ideally kind of play all by itself almost. So I really like that. Then for a movie night with my patrons, we have so many now, so if you were ever thinking of joining my Patreon and you like having movie nights and other hangouts, you should definitely at least look at my page. We have so many now, and it's so much fun. We watched The Blob, the 80s one, which I had never seen before. I've seen the original one and that was it. I love the theme song of that one. That was not in this movie, unfortunately, but it's fine because I really, really, really liked this one. Definitely cheesy, which is fine. It's an 80s movie. It's gonna be cheesy. Loved the practical effects. I feel like all of the kills in the movie were iconic and memorable. Like, I thought it was great. I thought it was so much fun. I can't believe I've never seen it before. But I really had a great time watching it. It was fun to watch with other people also. And there were some genuinely very disturbing scenes also, like terror-wise. So I really, really enjoyed that. Alrighty. Then I rewatched The Mummy because it's The Mummy, and I know you see it up there because we ended up watching it for movie night, but we'll talk about that later. And by later, I mean a month from now. I didn't know we were gonna watch it for a movie night, but I watched The Mummy because I fucking love that movie. It's just a feel-good movie. I need feel-good movies at the moment, so yeah. And then finally, for the last challenge for January, for their snow business back order week, it said, see a scary film with snow, but one from the 80s. So I watched Ghost Keeper, which I'd never heard of before until this moment, when I was looking up stuff to watch. Weird. Not like, it wasn't that weird. There were some like genuinely like really scary things going on in the movie. The woman in especially when they first discover the woman in the hotel that they hole up in, really, really creepy. And I feel like it just got like a little weirder as it went on, which is normally fine, but it was that just like weird pocket of 80s movies that are like cheesy in a bad way. Like I was not vibing with the actors' performances. It was all just a little like, it was like awkward cheesy and not like fun cheesy, if that makes sense. Like, yeah. And it bored me a little bit. It bored me a little bit. Like, like I found myself distracted and then having to like rewind and watch parts again because I realized I wasn't paying attention. So this was a replacement one. I can't remember what movie I had in its place, but it wasn't streaming when I went to go watch it. I couldn't find anywhere to watch it, so I filled in with this one and look what happened. Okay. So that is a recap of everything I watched in January. Let me know in the comments if you're still here. I know this is a long video. What some of your favorite things that you watched this past month are. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here. Become a Creepy Peep today. I post 2 new videos a week on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So that means I'll see you this Saturday with a new video. Until then, stay strange. Bye.